would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks Podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, bowel biologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
This episode of Healthy Home Hacks is brought to you by Prebiotics. Are you ready to enjoy a healthier, non-toxic sleep? Join the organic mattress revolution and rest easier on a certified organic mattress proudly crafted in the USA without petrochemicals, flame retardants, polyurethane foam, and other toxic chemical materials. Visit naturepedic.com and get ready to snooze in the lap of organic luxury. And friends, don't forget to use code Ron and Lisa 15. That's Ron and Lisa 15 to save 15% on new mattresses for the whole family.
What's love got to do with it? What's love?
Hey, Ron. I mean, I love your voice. You know that.
Thanks.
But this show isn't about love today. We passed Valentine's Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, today we're talking about gut.
Gut
Health.
Oh, what's gut got to do with it?
Yeah.
What's gut got to do?
Okay, well, guys, listeners, welcome to today's show. And today we are going to find out what gut's got to do with it.
The doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition. Thomas Edison.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Healthy Home Hacks Podcast, Season 2. After a short break, we hope you had time to dive into the first 32 episodes where we covered everything from electromagnetic radiation, 5G, and healthy sleep to ventilation, green cleaning, disinfecting and sanitizing, cancer prevention, frequency medicine, and so much more. But today, we are thrilled to tackle the importance of building and maintaining a strong immune system. And more importantly, what's gut got to do with it, as we said just a minute ago? This is so important in the days of coronavirus, especially when you consider the constant barrage of contradicting, complicated, and incomplete information being thrown at us daily. There's so much talk about preventing COVID and other illnesses, but very little conversations about how your body's own immune system determines your recovery. In fact, most of us are unaware to learn that 70% of our immune system lives in our gut microbiome.
That is a great point, Lisa. And in fact, there are trillions of microbes, bacteria, fungi, and parasites found in the gut. Autoimmune and inflammatory bowel diseases become a threat when these microbes become imbalanced. For example, the tissue that lines our gut contains all of our immune cells. So when there is a leak, immune cells in the gut lining are damaged and can lead to inflammation and tissue destruction. How do you know if you have an unhealthy gut microbiome? Your body will give you clues. I'm sure you would know if you had this. They're very unpleasant ones at that. In fact, if you suffer from bad breath, bloating, constipation, food intolerance, poor sleep, acne, allergies, eczema, lowered immunity, irritability, excess weight, and stress, your gut health could be to blame. Now, more than ever, it's vital that you take your health and wellness into your own hands or your own gut. Take it into your own gut.
That's right. And our special guest, Saarah Samadani, is a mom, a holistic health practitioner, digital influencer, and CEO and founder of New Bloom Media. She is dedicated to educating and empowering women about what they put on and in their bodies. Her passions lie in natural beauty and clean eating, using immune supporting recipes, something you probably never heard of, and we're going to get into that today. Saarah takes a natural and holistic approach to help women achieve the quality of life that they deserve. Her passion stems from her own experiences in ensuring that self-care became a top priority in her life after struggling with and a drastic need to change her beauty routine to eliminate harsh, toxic ingredients. Saarah continues to put together and reinvent healthier alternative meals for both the health-conscious connoisseur and families just like you that experience food allergies and intolerance. Okay, guys, so let's dive right in. Welcome to the show, Saarah.
Welcome, Saarah.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much.
We love you too. A little
Thanks
side
for
note.
having me.
We've known Saarah for many, many years. And then our paths crossed in this health journey, which is really interesting. And so we're so happy to have you with us today. I know this is a really important show. And I know you deal mostly with women, but this applies to everybody, right? I mean, we're not just limiting this.
Yeah, totally. I think it's just, you mentioned women, but typically what I find is that women influence men. Just maybe that's a little bit of sexual bias, right?
Right.
I just found that in my life, but
for sure.
even just with my parents, like my dad has been influencing his diet for a while. I definitely do. And I think that with everything, particularly gut health, I think it affects men and women a little bit differently. Like they overlap a little bit as far as a lot of the indications that your gut is like screaming like, hello. But I find that women, we have the hormone factor. We also have a little bit of the different, genetic makeup. And
we're complicated, stuff. Saarah. We're complicated.
Men are so simple.
Right? I find that the women, especially like in families, and this has just been my experiences, and even with my mom and everything, is you kind of influence like what is made in the home. And I love cooking and I'm the one that cooks everything. I definitely think women need to take care of themselves a little bit more because we always put the family first. And so I want to make sure that I'm going straight to the women because I'm like, let's take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other.
Totally.
Nice. It's like going to the decision maker when you're trying to get a sale.
Yeah. She knows her audience. Hey, listen, we have an online program called the Healthy Babes Academy, and it is the exact same reason. Our audience and readers and listeners are mostly women, but hey, guys, you can be a babe too.
Totally.
I don't want to limit anyone. Anyone's welcome. But
I totally agree with that. Yeah. And I've treated men too. Men have a little bit of a different need, particularly when it comes to like protein or BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, especially for like muscle mass and stuff. But I like to say it's the same difference, right? We have the same health journey. It just has to take different paths and sometimes different foods and supplements to kind of help us get there.
Very cool. Okay. Well, I'm excited to get into all of this today.
Saarah, now I know your struggles with autoimmune disease, medicine, and postpartum anxiety. They left you frustrated with failures for traditional medicine. Can you share with our listeners a bit more about your journey and how it led you to become a holistic health practitioner?
Absolutely. I kind of felt crazy initially in the beginning because after I had my children, I had a lot of problems with my gut and I couldn't understand what was happening. I went to so many different doctors, Western medicine doctors. I did the stool test, the parasite test, like all of that stuff.
Now you're getting personal.
Perfect. I know. Sorry, TMI, right?
No, we're going there today. We're going there.
Hey, shit happens, right?
Literally.
And it's funny, like they were doing all these tests on me and they were like, your health is perfect. And I just kept telling them like, something's wrong. I don't feel well. I have to run to the bathroom. My skin's breaking out. I'm inflamed. The last 10 pounds of pregnancy just wouldn't come off of me. And I eat very healthy, like very, very healthy. And I have for a long time. And I got really frustrated. I have Hashimoto's. So that's my autoimmune. Problem.
Can you explain what that is? What is Hashimoto's?
Absolutely. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition for the thyroid. We have the standard thyroid conditions like the hypothyroid and the hyperthyroid. So that's an overactive thyroid for hyper and then underactive for hypo. So I was hypothyroid. And on top of that, I had the Hashimoto's, which is when your body attacks your own cells. So your body isn't intelligent enough to know that your cells are actually your cells because the gut is so messed up that it's going to just go for whatever it thinks is an invader. Hashimoto's essentially what happens is that your body thinks your thyroid is a foreign invader, but goes after the tissue cells in your thyroid and breaks it down, which causes it not to function properly. And that's kind of what happens with autoimmune diseases in general, is your body is going to attack something in your body. Like there's Sjogren's. Sjogren's is another autoimmune condition that affects the salivary glands. So your body legitimately attacks. Think of all your glands in your mouth. Your mouth gets dry, your eyes get dry. So it's all the glands that lubricate lubricate everything. Wink, wink.
Dryness.
I want to kind of get that in. Yeah, right? Once I figured that out, I started seeking like naturopaths. I went to 3 different naturopathic doctors. And by the way, I want everyone to know, like, it's okay to go and spread the wings and finding different secondary sources of information. These 3 different practitioners, they were wonderful, and they all gave me little pieces of the puzzle. Someone comes to me and I help treat them, and they go to someone else. I never feel like offended or anything, because we're all in this wellness pool together. And I find that I specialize in autoimmune, but maybe there's someone else that specializes in muscle mass growth or something.
And really, when you think about that's a great point, Saarah. And I really would advise anybody to do that, no matter what health ailment that you're dealing with, especially when you get into like cancer and things like that. You always want a second and third opinion. But like you said, different modalities of medicine are going to approach things differently. And this doctor may not find something, but the other one will. Like you, I went to over a dozen doctors, every type, Western, Eastern, anything in between. And, I mean, it was a journey to say the least. But I learned a lot. I also learned a lot about myself and about health. I would advise everybody to do that.
I think it's incredible. And what I love is the learning part of it. Like, we really want to get to know our bodies better. And while the doctors are really great, like Eastern and Western, very good for guidance there, I also just want to make sure that people know that it's really how you feel. And that's what I kept going forward with. I was like, I don't feel good. My blood work looks amazing. My thyroid was perfect. But I just kept telling them, I don't feel well. I still don't feel well. And so when I went to these 3 different doctors, like the first one found out I had a gluten intolerance and that my body wasn't absorbing protein and that I was fully inflamed. And then the second one discovered, oh, you know what? Your secondary detox pathways, they're not detoxing your systems. You have 2 detox pathways. You have the first one where your body identifies and processes the toxins. Let's use alcohol as an example. Your first response to alcohol is your liver goes there and you get a little drunk, right? That's your first response, this toxin that's coming in your body. And then
I
the
always
secondary
wondered, Saarah.
response.
Thank you for that.
Right? So, like next time you take a shot, you're like, ooh, okay, my body's working overtime. All right. And then the secondary is your body eliminating it, and not just eliminating it through standard bathroom methods, but eliminating it through like pores and through your tissue cells and through every little area of your body. And so my second detox pathway wasn't working properly. And what that meant was everything was sitting in my body. But the first doctor had no idea about this first and secondary pathways. Then the third one came in and he goes, your adrenals are shot. And then he took all this information from the first 2. He put it all together and we kind of went forward. And I thought, I bet there's other women out there that think that they're crazy and that are going through the same thing, going to doctor to doctor to doctor, thinking I have something wrong and nobody wants to help me. And it's lonely. It's a very lonely, isolating feeling when you feel like, why isn't anyone listening to me? How come people can't tell me what it is? And then I took matters in my own hands. And as I was healing through these 3 different practitioners, I was like, you know what? F this, man. I'm going to find out my own stuff. I'm going to educate myself. And I put myself through school. And here I am, a holistic health practitioner. And it's funny looking back on like their advice and kind of fine tuning it to myself, right? Because you're the only person that's with yourself 100% of the day, right?
You know your body.
You can kind of listen to yourself.
Right. And a lot of people don't listen to themselves. And I think that that's a great point, is quieting yourself enough and stop the glorification of busy, the go, go, go. I got to do this. I got to do this. And really be in tune with your body and those sounds, whether it's an allergic response or fatigue or bloating or those things we talked about at the top. And your detoxification pathway comment, I think, is so poignant because we actually just did episode 32, which was on doing an armpit cleanse, because sweating is obviously one of the ways we detoxify. When we're using antiperspirants and clogging our pores with aluminum and blocking off one of those ways for toxins to get out, we create like a toxic body burden and a toxic overload. You really have to be your own advocate. And I think kind of like you, Saarah, you have to say, I will find an answer. I'm just going to find an answer and I won't stop searching.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the best way to approach your health is find the answer. You know, my mom, she passed away from cancer 13 years ago. And I remember her initial states of feeling crazy. And I remember witnessing it on her. And she didn't fight. She just was like accepting what the doctors were saying. She did the same thing. She did a fecal test, did all that. And then a few years later, they're like, oh, you got cancer. You got 8 months left to live. And then she was gone. But it was like, fuck
I'm
that,
sorry about
man.
that. What cancer did she have?
Yeah, what kind of cancer? Sorry.
She had lung cancer. My mom, she worked in t-shirts and all of the chemicals that she was inhaling, she wasn't wearing a mask, the ink, the t-shirt dust, the boxes, the printing, all that stuff. And then it just kind of spread. And I do realize like lung cancer is a really hard cancer to detect.
Right. There's no symptom.
Typically,
Yeah. You don't
there's
get a
no
pain.
symptom. Right. But then there's also this social stigma to lung cancers. They think it's all self-inflicted.
You're a smoker.
Yeah, right. And they think it is. So no one wants to put any money towards the research to be able to detect it earlier. But anyway, they detected it late. But I just remember like her initial stages happened like 5-10 years before she had passed away. And I feel that it would have been nice if she would have questioned more. So I always encourage women in particular, fight for it. Like get an answer and don't settle for, I don't know, your tests look fine, so you're fine.
Yeah, or pop that pill and pretend the pain isn't there or whatever the symptom is.
Totally.
Yeah, because we live in that society, unfortunately, where everybody wants a quick fix. And sometimes it's just not going to be a quick fix. It's going to, like what we're going to get into, a lifestyle change. And like you're just going to have to be open to changing the way that you've been doing things that could be causing illness. We had Dr. Keneally on one of the episodes about cancer prevention. And she talked about how cancer starts 8 to 10 years before it manifests into a tumor. Yeah. And everybody on this call, including our producer right now and recently, have lost loved ones to cancer or have somebody going through that. I'm sure every single person listening can relate. And it's 1 in 3 women and 1 in 2 men are predicted to get cancer in their lifetime today. That's today's stat. This is really important. Yeah. You're a holistic health practitioner. Can you explain to our listeners what holistic health even means?
Holistic health is referring to the healing of the whole person that's made up of independent parts. So we got mind, we got body, and we got spirit. And essentially it roots in understanding that these areas affect your overall health, not just your physical well-being. And I think that that's initially what people think is like holistic health is like, oh, I'm going on this Whole30 diet and then I'm done. Yeah. It's actually a whole lifestyle change.
Yeah. I'm going to get a green juice and that.
Yeah. I'm going to get a green juice. That'll be fun. Like I'll do like a juice cleanse and I'm like holistically helping it. Right.
Yeah.
So really like an overall state of taking a look at you, taking a look at what are you eating? What's your physical activity? How are you feeling inside, like your soul and your spirit? Because you take a look at all three and all three really affect how you're going to heal. And I'll give you an example too. You have individuals, let's continue on this diet thing, right? So let's say someone wants to come in and lose weight, right? They come to me and they say, I really, I have these extra 20 pounds. I really can't lose it. I'm eating all this stuff. And when I start diving into their diet, I'm like, ooh, no, not really.
Would you find most people's perception of how they eat is very different than the actuality?
Yeah, it is. And but also too, is like when people want to lose weight, they start these like massive workout routines, right? And then they think I'm going to reward myself and I'm going to go get a McDonald's hamburger, right? And they think, well, how come that 500 calorie run didn't just like negate what I ate? But it's like, no. If you want to lose that weight, the physical fitness, as well as the food you're eating and nourishing your body is a big deal. And then the mental also plays into that too, because you have to give yourself a break, right? You have to be like cheering yourself on, pushing yourself, but also you got to be like, oh, I can't have that right now because I'm really trying to like detox.
Yeah.
And kind of get back to like basics, right? So
that's self-love. That is self-love. Like I say that.
Totally.
Right. I say that to Ren all the time. Like we lose sight of that, especially as women, are nurturers and it's about taking care of others. And we forget that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's self-love. It's actually like required.
Yeah.
You need to do that. Yeah.
And that's why I target women, right? Because I feel that from my experience, like women that I've known, even myself included, like the self-love and the self-care need to be a part of that, which is all part of like the holistic bubble, right? It's really treating yourself and giving yourself grace. That's a big thing with everything that you're doing, with the whole shebang, right? The food, the fitness. Fitness doesn't have to be like, oh yeah,
the whole organic plant-based enchilada.
There you go. The whole enchilada.
No, it's true. Looking at the whole, and I love that. Be gentle, right? Be gentle. It's what do you say, Ron?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's right.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. But also one of the biggest parts too about holistic health that I think that we're also forgetting in COVID is that holistic health gives your body the tools it needs to heal itself. And your body, like we're not all Wolverining it out here, right? But we can heal ourselves. And you see that like when you cut yourself or if you get a pimple and you pop it or whatever, right?
Okay, explain Wolverine's. Not everyone's a Marvel fan. So Wolverine can actually regenerate. So when he's cut, he regenerates.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Thank you. Saarah has a boy.
Just for Lisa.
Saarah has a young boy, so she knows this.
I do. Yeah. So when Wolverine, like when he gets cut, like he heals like in 2 seconds. And just like Ron said, he regenerates. But the thing is our bodies have a capability of healing themselves. All they need is the tools. That's it. They need the nutrients. They need the supplements. They need the walking. Because even the physical motion gets your blood flowing, your lymphatic drainage going and everything. And it's kind of the whole vegan enchilada, right?
Vegan organic
plant-based enchilada. But then also the mental part of it goes with it too, because you know how they say like, and I remember, when my mom was going through chemo, it's like the mental part of it is so important when you're going through it. And I totally believe it. When you are feeling ill or you're cut or you're hurt or something, just having that mental like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to power through it and your body heals.
So essential.
Totally.
We did an episode on frequency medicine, and it's really cool if anyone is going through anything and wants to go back and listen to that one. And about like even, your surroundings when you're healing, the music, not just the food, but everything's energy. So like everything, the people that are, around you. You don't want the people like Debbie Downers. You need people who are feeling good for you and positive and that kind of things.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the body, like, can you explain to us, Saarah, what does the immune system actually do to help prevent illness for us? Can you get into detail about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Super simply put, the immune system is a bunch of cells and proteins that help us guard from bacteria, pathogens against infection, right? The immune system is also super intelligent that it keeps a record of anything that it's already fought off so that if it invades the body again, it can fight it off faster and even better.
Wow.
The immune system is our guard against the world. Yeah, right. Like we have our own, like we're on like little computers, our own little databases of information of like, oh, you know what? I've had that before. Let me bring in the troops and we only need, this, this, and this. And then you have to feed it nutrition that it needs so that it can fight it off. But that's kind of like simply what I talk about the immune system. And then just to know that every day we come into contact with germs and we don't know it. Why? Because the immune system is constantly working and fighting off all these pathogens that we're running through that we have absolutely no idea about. And the immune system is just so remarkable. It never ceases to amaze me what our bodies can do. And that's why I always bet on my immune system. I give it what it needs and I know my immune system is going to have my back.
I love that. Trusting it, right? Trusting. A lot of people don't think that, right? You think the body's against you. And if you realize no, your body's always working for you and wants the best for you. Like you said earlier, it just might need some missing tools. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned the mental aspect too, the femininity of that. I think women have a natural intuition that men don't always seem to have, right? I just joked with Lisa that she's the canary in the coal mine. If something's affecting her, it doesn't mean it's not affecting me in the home. Let's say it's a toxin or some sort of off-gassing scenario. It's really interesting. So I always take Lisa's perspective first over mine because I'm not even smelling certain smells that she's smelling in the house, right?
Women have better sense of smell, I think, right?
Yeah.
And they say, it's funny, like like when you get pregnant, how they say your sense of smell goes up. They said that like the reason why that happens is because it's the first line of defense for the baby inside of you, that you can smell that. It's kind of like a mama bear protection that you have. And I feel like overall, we're hypersensitive. Our skin is thinner than a male skin for a reason. So we can sense changes in temperature or texture in the air. And that's the way we were created for a reason. But I totally agree with you. Like I could sense smells and everything a little bit more sensitive. And even just like when you wake up. Yeah, totally.
Ron's always like, I don't know what you're talking about. When I got sick from a newly remodeled home from all of the VOCs and the toxins off gassing, Ron, you weren't actually living there, but
I was visiting.
You were visiting frequently, but before we got married.
But I didn't work from there like you did either. So.
Yeah, I worked it, but I learned through my research and journey that women, we have a higher percentage of body fat. And so we actually store toxins more than men too. Yeah, in a household, if you only need 20% of the occupants of a home or a building to be sick, to consider it sick building syndrome. Like there could be something in your environment if 20% or more of the people are sick. And it'll tend to be the women first because of all these things that we're talking about. We are more sensitive and we do store on those toxins more than men. Man, another thing they have easier.
I didn't know we had thicker skin. That was a new thing I learned, Saarah. So we literally have men have thicker skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking a minute ago about somebody like your mom getting all her tests back saying, you're fine. And she's, no, I'm not. Something's wrong. And you went through that too. And I did too. And I wanted to touch upon that too, because I know with some of our family members, the opposite can happen too, where your doctor can say everything is great and yet you're falling apart and people will get, oh, I got a clean bill of health, so I must be fine. But outwardly, you're having all these symptoms. And that's where you really have to use that intuition that we're talking about and kind of come back and say, take the labs and just move them off and say, something's just not balanced here. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it, regardless of what labs or tests or anything show.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. And typically what I always recommend people do is I say, take a look at what you're putting in your body. Yeah. And that goes with the beauty products. Even if guys use like shaving cream or lotions and stuff like that, or whatever, shampoos and everything. For guys, like I would take toothpaste, I would have them take a look at what they're doing. And then for women, we have the creams and the serums and the makeup and the blah, blah, blah. We got all the fluffity fluff stuff. And so I always tell women, take a look at what you're putting on your body first, but also take a look at what you're putting in, what foods are you eating? Are you reading the label? Are you eating too many processed foods? Are you eating whole foods? What are you cooking them in? And that's where I kind of start the conversation of this is where we need to take a look at what you're putting in your gut, right? Which is exactly what you said. It's funny that you said the immune system, 70% of our immune system is in our gut. And I literally had that in my notes. Like I was like, I need to say this because people need to know
it's worth repeating.
How important what you put in. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. So for me, if I know that outwardly I'm breaking out, or because there's different areas of the face that'll tell you which organ is being affected, right?
Like with acupuncture, you mean?
Not acupuncture. Well, kind of ish, but if you have rosacea, or if you have like acne, or you have certain spots that you're getting like rough patches on your face, you could tell that that's areas of your body that's having a really hard time.
Ooh.
Like for instance, right between the eyes is your liver. So maybe sometimes if you have been, like right here, so if you have been drinking or whatever, or you're having maybe too much wine, which a lot of people are drinking a lot of wine on this for COVID. But if you're
the lockdowns have not helped in that.
Yeah,
area.
Right.
Right.
But you take a look here, and if you have any zits coming up or dry spots or eczema patches or whatever, your liver is like, help me. Okay. And that's where I kind of go, just to what you're saying is outwardly, if you look like you're falling apart, I look at the areas of the body that you're kind of falling apart on.
Yeah.
And then I would say, okay, my liver's messed up right now. I really, really need to understand it. Underneath your cheeks, here's your spleen.
What's your cheek area? What's your cheeks?
This is spleen. And then the cheek area, there's bladder. And then under here, and then indicate to you, this is like your small and big intestine too. So you know how sometimes, I know you don't eat dairy, but I very rarely eat dairy. I love sheep's milk cheeses, and I don't go for like cow dairy. I go sheep's milk dairy, unless I have in my stuff. But I'll find that if I'm overindulging in even that, then I have a breakout around here. Yeah, I'm just like, ooh, my body's not happy with dairy. Yeah, it tells you everything.
Mine wasn't either. And most people's aren't. They just, like we talked about, they get used to feeling blah and they don't realize that that could be a food intolerance or a food allergy or all kinds of things. Yeah.
It's called asymptomatic response.
Oh.
And that's where I started with mine. I was so in the deep end with what was happening to me. I started becoming asymptomatic where I got used to the pain.
Right.
And the muscle aches and the,
it's your new normal
pain. It's your new normal, which is fun.
Yeah.
And what I hate about the asymptomatic is that once you start healing yourself, you feel different and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. But really it is right because you're not having the pain anymore.
You got used
so I
to
see you got used to the pain and blah. And so when you're feeling great and light and you're not having the bathroom issues, you're not getting the eczema or the rashes, you're like, wait a minute. And even people actually get scared and then they revert back to their old ways because they're like, no, something's got to be wrong.
Something's wrong. I feel good. Something's wrong.
Yeah, right.
I feel too good. That's funny. That's true.
I feel good.
I can see that.
And that's the total mental aspect of this holistic healing is you mentally have to be ready to feel good too.
You do.
Yeah, you're like, oh God, I want to feel good. I want to feel good. And then you start feeling good, but your head is like messing with you. Your ego's like, you shouldn't be feeling good. But you should.
You had a set point
to feel good. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great point. And Saarah, would you be open to taking a call?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Wonderful. We have a caller. Katie, are you there?
I am. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Welcome to the show. Thank you for calling. And what is your question?
Show.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you so much. What is your question for Saarah?
Well, I'm a mom of 3 and all my kids are leaving the nest and heading off to college. And I just want to be sure that they're taking good care of their health. So what are some tips to strengthen their immune system and things they can be doing when mom is not with them anymore?
Great question.
That's such a good question. And it's something that I think about too with my kids. I know my kids are younger and I always like, well, what if they go off in college and they start eating on everything? Well, first and foremost is they're going to take the guidance that you've been giving them to up until now, up until they leave. And the only thing that I always tell my kids is when they leave the nest, I'll always tell them is that you own your body and it's your responsibility of what you put into it. So just know that if you are going to target McDonald's and all these other foods, you're going to hurt. And that's something that you have to kind of assess. Is it worth doing that to yourself? But a couple other things for getting the immune system kind of protected when you're kind of out in the world is I always load up on greens and protein. I always tell everyone greens and protein. And even if you're not eater, I am a meat eater, but protein you find in vegetables, as Lisa can definitely tell you about all of that, right?
Yep.
But protein is so important to the immune system, and so are green veggies. I talk about green veggies and think of them as like the little scrubbers that scrub the walls of your gut. And they go through your body and then they get rid of all the stuff that you don't want. But then your body also gets the proteins from the greens too, just like animals do, right? You have the grazing cows and the grass-fed lamb and sheep and stuff, and they graze on the vegetables and then they create these yummy amino acids for your body. So I would say proteins and greens are my big go-tos. And then of course we always have our vitamin C's and we have our vitamin D's that we always love, and definitely pre and probiotics. Those are my go-tos. A lot of people talk about probiotics, but sometimes people don't really look at the prebiotics, and the prebiotics are the food for the probiotics.
Okay, I'm glad you explained that because a lot of listeners, it seems like it's becoming a buzzword. And a lot of people are like, wait, now we have another thing we have to take? No. So the pre-feed. So do the probiotics not work if you don't have the prebiotic then?
Not necessarily, but what's happening is you're getting a lot of people that have a lot of cases of SIBO, which is the upper infection of the upper digestive system, because they're eating all these good, yummy probiotics. But if you have no bad bacteria in your gut anymore because you're overloading on these probiotics, not overloading on probiotics, but because you're being diligent about making sure that you're taking these probiotics, then they're going to start feeding on your cells. And that's where the prebiotics come in. And prebiotics, you can get through a lot of things. You could get them through like Jerusalem artichoke. Green bananas is a really good one for prebiotics. And this is just with the whole foods. And yeah, you can have the psyllium husks and all that fun stuff if you want to sprinkle it on your supplements and hemp seeds and flax and everything like that. But yeah, the prebiotics are just as important as the probiotics. But yeah, once you run out of that bad bacteria in your gut, they're like, what do we eat now?
Well, right. That's interesting. You can overdo it.
You can overdo it.
Probiotic.
Yeah.
And I like the little scrubber analogy that you gave. And I know for me, cruciferous vegetables are really, really good, especially for women, because it helps release excess estrogen. So cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, right? What other is cabbage one? I think.
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts is a good one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's really good for women to definitely, everybody should be taking them.
So I just learned about that. Yeah. For cruciferous veggies, because I've been with thyroid as hormone and all that stuff. And for the last year, I've been looking at DIM as the supplement you can take that gets the extract from all the cruciferous veggies for women. That helps to, because your hormones, especially estrogen, is metabolized in your liver. So if your liver is not okay, then your hormones are going to be messed up. So that's why I'm like, always look between the eyes. Like, look here. Is that situation going here?
I thought it was look me in the eyes. No, it's look between the eyes.
Like between the eyes.
Katie, did that? I mean, I know when I went off to college, I didn't gain the freshman 15. I think I gained the freshman 20. So I wish my mom had taught me about eating healthy when I went off to college, because there were too many late night pizzas and things like that. But I'm sure your kids will do great, Katie. But did that answer your question, or did you have anything else for Saarah?
It's really helpful. I mean, it might seem a little overwhelming to tell a kid all that, but I think you hit it. I think you hit the target where I've actually raised them in a really healthy manner. And so actually my son is at college and I'm doing a 10-day detox, and he goes, oh, I need to stop eating so much junk. And he's a runner and an athlete. So it's good that he's mindful. You know, and he's surrounded by it, but he's like, I've got to stop eating so much junk. So that was good.
Right. Yeah.
Good for you. Like, I love that. Good mom awards. I only hope one day my son would tell me that too. Oh, Mom, I've just been splurging on this dollar menu, Chick-fil-A or something. And then I help him with the detox. I love that. And I think being mindful too, and that's the mind element of the whole holistic approach, as well as being mindful of what you're doing and knowing. And he's aware, which I think you should applaud yourself for that too, because if he's aware that he's not feeling good, then you've shown him how to go inward and really feel the body and recognize, like, yo, my body's not feeling good. I need to do something about it. So hats off to you, Mama. I think that's amazing.
Hats off, Katie. Yeah. Woohoo, go Mama. Well, I'm so impressed with both of you. But yes, thank you so much for calling, Katie, and good luck to your son and all your kids as they head off to college.
Thank you.
Enjoy the empty nest.
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
That is another podcast. Mental, we got definitely. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for calling.
Mental health.
So we talked a lot about kids, for example. So I was curious, Saarah, in regards to our parents. Let's say our parents have a disease. Does that mean that we're more prone to get that same disease?
Genes are kind of a funny thing, right? We study and we study and we study and we try to find, is there a predisposition to disease states? I think sometimes there can be. I still think that we need a lot more intelligence on cells and cellular level health and genetic health to understand really where do we get these diseases. Kind of like where twins come from, right? You know, I'm a twin and it's like my mom wasn't a twin, but my grandfather was a twin, but then they say it's not genetic. So I'm like, is it not? We don't really know. But what I have to say is when I take a look at if my parents had this disease and I get it, sometimes I feel that you can be prone to it, particularly depending on your possibly where you're from, your background. And I'll give you an example. So like I'm half Middle Eastern, and a lot of Middle Eastern people, they typically have a high triglyceride count when they go get blood work done. And my triglycerides have always been high. And that just stems from my background, right? And my dad, he's Middle Eastern, he has high triglycerides, right? You can kind of go in and nip it. And for instance, and it's really funny to kind of see that. And I find that our bodies all have different ways of functioning and acting. And that's what you get from your parents, right? And so your body could react in very similar ways that your parents do. However, you can go in and you can be a lot more proactive about your health so that you can mitigate the potential of you getting whatever maybe they had or passed away from. So my mom, her cancer, right? And yeah, she had lung cancer, but does that predispose me to other cancers? Sure, possibly. Her and I had very similar gut problems. I nipped mine a lot faster. And I think that's what drove me to become a holistic health practitioner too, is to not necessarily live longer, but have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you have a parent that maybe has heart disease or atherosclerosis or has cancer or different types of disease states, I would go inward and take a personal look at myself and in a holistic way and say, okay, what am I doing similar to what they're doing that's not very healthy? And how can I change this and integrate a newer lifestyle where I could potentially move forward through life, avoiding getting this type of disease? So absolutely, I think they go hand in hand, but I also believe that you control the destiny of where your body's going to go. And that all is mind, body, and spirit.
And that's actually a positive thing. It's a quote. I think we've said it in other podcasts, but Dr. Oz had said, genetics loads the gun, but diet, environment, and lifestyle pull the trigger.
Isn't
that a great quote?
It's totally true.
You might be exposed to something, but you have so much control on how your body is going to fight that off and handle that and be healthy. And
totally. Like I have a friend, actually, he just passed away he had cancer, but his brother had passed away from cancer 15 years ago. And he didn't eat very well. He was a surfer. We live in Southern California, right? There's a lot of great surfers out there. But he ate whatever he wanted. I think, in my opinion, he had a warning of his brother passing away, and he didn't take care of himself, and he ended up
passing away also.
Getting sick the same way his brother did, right? So there's a lot of examples you can kind of take a look at. But again, my friend didn't take the time to really go, I should probably change my diet. I should probably change. He would go to McDonald's and get, what's that sandwich that has the French toast?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You'll have to ask a caller.
We don't know.
Can we get another caller? Whatever it is, but it was the McGriddle. McGriddle? I think whatever. I don't know. But he would get it every single morning. And so that's just to show you an example of he could have had better. Maybe he could have done the green juices in the morning or the protein shakes or like a really good egg breakfast.
And they get addicted. People don't realize they're addicted to the sugar that's hidden in a lot of food. Like French fries have sugar, right? It's not just salt. People don't realize that, but they put sugar in the French fries. The ketchup is high fructose corn syrup. It's loaded with sugar. Barbecue sauce loaded with sugar. So
barbecue chips.
Yeah.
Loaded in sugar. Yeah, my son's addicted to barbecue chips. I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
You got to find the healthy version, right?
Yeah.
That's what I say. Hey, whatever you want, you can have it. They have a healthy version of everything now. You can have ice cream, you can have cookies, you can have cake, you can have pasta, you can have burgers, you can have hot dogs, as long as you get the healthy version. And if you don't want to do the vegan version, right, you can get the grass fed and all of that. So it's just about making the healthy swap. It's not about sacrifice. And Brian, you remember when I first started going really hardcore on my diet, I would just do that. I'd say, let's just go to Whole Foods. We'll find whatever we're looking for.
We'll find something. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really like what we just said is taking away. I think that too, when people start going into this holistic journey for health, and I know it's not like chanting and stuff, that people also have that stigma about it. But what I really implore people to do is you want to find ways where you can add to your plate. Yes, you want to talk it in the sense of I'm replacing the protein I'm eating and adding these yummy phytonutrients on my plate, or I'm adding this to my salad and replacing. So we want to talk about adding and replacing instead of I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't eat that. And that's also part of the mind, right? Is knowing, oh, I can add pistachios on my salad and get those really yummy omegas in there. Oh, I could add some green onion and get the phytochemicals from the green onion. You know, I could add and add and add. And I think that when people realize the holistic health is adding to your life, not removing, then I think that would attract a lot of people to go, oh, I'm going to go holistic style. Yeah, I'm going to add all this stuff to my life.
Yes, because we as a society are taught that like everything good for us is a deprivation, and that's taking away. And so changing just the mindset and saying, because like you said, even like say adding pistachios or more veggies to your salad, as we all know, you get fuller faster. You get rid of those cravings for those bad things, right? I mean, all of a sudden you don't want those fries anymore. You just ate this healthy salad and you literally don't crave the bad stuff anymore. So you've got to kind of retrain your body to get used to that, and you don't miss it. you literally won't miss the bad food at some point. I mean, everybody's set point is different, but at some point, you just won't crave it anymore. I mean, once in a while, but it's not going to be like an obsession.
Yeah. Or it'll actually disgust you.
Yeah.
I think the last time I had McDonald's was 10 years ago. Maybe.
But you knew about
If
the
that.
McGriddle.
She has kids.
No joke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
right.
talked about bad food, good food. Obviously, good food would be foods that benefit your immune system. Do you have any tips in that area for us?
That benefit your
Immune
gut.
system. Yeah. You want the
immune
immune system in
system,
general.
yeah.
Any particular foods?
So for the immune system, honestly, I target the gut. Your immune system is your gut. Your gut is your immune system. And to be quite honest, when I sit and think like, how can I strengthen my immune system? It's proteins and greens all the way. I sit there and I think, what can I eat? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I've got greens on my plate. If I decide to have eggs or something, there's greens on my plate with the eggs.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see people, they'll have eggs, they'll do hash browns, maybe they'll do some bacon or pancakes. There's no greens there. I always eat greens on everything. And what I like to tell people, I was like, make it a green sandwich. And this is what I mean by it is when you're eating a meal or in the morning, I have a protein shake, so the greens are in there. But let's say I have a lunch and I decide, okay, I'm going to have a burger. Let's say I'm going to have a burger and fries, right? I sandwich it with greens. So I eat greens before I touch the rest of the food. And what's nice about the greens is it's what you're saying is when you start eating those greens, already you're changing the makeup of your gut. And you're not going to eat that whole plate of French fries because you're going to go, ooh, I got these greens in me. And then I'm going to have the protein and you're going to move the bun away. And you're going to say, I literally just want the greens and protein. So that's what's addictive about, in a good way, addictive about making sure you sandwich with greens. But as far as if you want to take a look at like supplements,
that's a great tip, Saarah,
right?
and replacing your bun with the lettuce.
Yeah.
That's really spinach, lettuce, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of greens too, I suspect I know your answer to this, but how important is organic to you with greens?
Oh, organic is a big deal. So because I have the autoimmune, I react to a lot of different foods, especially pesticides. And when you have your organic veggies, there's still a lot of cross-pollination. Let's be real. The organic veggies you get, they can never be 100% organic because the way that they grow the field, you have within 30 miles, you'll have conventional fields. You could get the crosswinds, you could get bees going from the conventional produce to the organic produce and back, right? So you're going to get a little bit of the cross-pollination because of nature, right? You can't prevent nature. We want to make nature happen. Right. But organic veggies are super important and they're important for a lot of reasons, but these are the main ones I look at is one, you don't have these veggies that are loaded in pesticides and all these sprays that you have absolutely no idea what are they going to do on your body. For me, they probably affected my hormonal health and my immune health. And it's a constant battle to try to get rid of all these pesticides. Because like I said, I've always eaten healthy. I ate a lot of veggies. I probably also ingested a lot of the pesticide residues because I was in college. You're like, oh, I'm going to get that apple because it's 25 cents cheaper. I'll just get the conventional one because you don't know any different. But what I like to tell people is if you think organic veggies are expensive, wait till you get the hospital bills later because these pesticides are wreaking havoc on your whole system. Organic is so important.
I love that.
Another reason why I
pay now or pay way more later.
Pay now or pay later. And your quality of life is so much better later when you are investing in yourself. And this goes back to self-love and self-care and getting the organic veggies. I mean, Target has organic veggies now. Costco has so many.
Costco has so much.
Costco has more organic veggies than Whole Foods now.
Interesting.
Now Costco, do you want us
more than
And speaking of what is organic for listeners who are, I don't even really know. A lot of people don't really know what organic stands for. Certified organic, USDA, certified organic. When you buy that food, you're getting no GMOs, no genetically modified organisms, no antibiotics, no growth hormones, no artificial colors or preservatives, no artificial flavors, no synthetic fertilizers, no synthetic pesticides, no irradiation, and no sewage sludge. That's what you're paying for, guys. I mean, think about all that's going in your body if you're not paying for that.
And then you're taking a pill to get that out of your body. So it's like you're double paying. You might as well just spend it.
You're
paying. Thanks.
Paying going in, paying going out.
And this is another thing I don't think people realize about organic vegetables. And this is what I like to focus on is holistic approach. We like to take a look at food. Eat the rainbow, right? Like eat the rainbow of all the whole vegetables. Yeah,
Eat
we love
that
the rainbow. Right?
Have a colorful plate. If your plate's not colorful, you need to add color. Because right? The SAD diet, the standard American diet, I call it beige. It's like beige brown. Like you talked about hash browns, bacon, meat, potatoes, rolls. It's a beigey brown. You don't want your plate. Look at pasta. Yep. You need color.
I want to also mention about the conventional and organic. So organic veggies, they're the more natural way that vegetables and fruits are grown in our world. And when you look at the conventional methods, they spray pesticides, but they also do genetically modify stuff so that it forces growth of vegetables that are not supposed to grow in that season. So the other reason why I like organic is because when you look at organic, there's only certain fruits and veggies you will find every season. And those are the veggies you need. It's funny, right? Like fall, we have lots of pumpkin, lots of squash, lots of those types of veggies. And they're loaded in beta carotene, which is really good for your eyes and really good for the immune system, really good for the skin and the gut. And you realize seasons are changing into a colder climate. So you need to have better eye health and better skin health to bear for this winter that's about to come, right?
Right.
But it only really blooms in the fall. And so strawberries, we're in strawberry season now. We need a lot of vitamin C because this is where allergies come in and we're getting this, well, supposedly this summer cold.
Yeah.
So what I do is I look at the organic veggies as kind of my roadmap of, okay, what is my body supposed to have of the season? Because naturally those fruits and veggies are growing in that season. I know people haven't looked at the organic veggies that way, but I use that as my holistic guide of, okay, I'm going to load up on strawberries. So now when it's strawberry season, I literally have strawberries all the time. And then in the fall, I don't eat them at all because they're not supposed to really grow in the fall for reasons, because there's other fruits and veggies.
Yeah. The food is in cycle with us and we're in symbiotic relationship that.
Totally. Yeah.
And guys and listeners, I want to give you a little tidbit. If you're not familiar with EWG, the environmental working groups, Dirty Dozen and Clean 15, they come out with it every year. And it's a list of produce, which is veggies and fruits that are the highest in pesticides and that are the lowest. And it's free to download on their website. I'll put a link in the show notes. And the reason you want this is because if you're on a budget, which everybody is, and you are like, hey, I'm only going to allocate funds to the produce that's the highest in pesticides, so I'm going to buy those organic. Then the produce that's lowest in pesticides, which typically is stuff like with a thicker skin, then those you could buy conventional. And so that's a really good way to help you budget when you're shopping healthy.
Yeah, I love that.
Great point. Hey, Saarah, asking for a friend, is the keto diet good for weight loss?
I get this question a lot. And quite frankly, I think that all the different diets from keto, paleo, Whole30, FODMAP, a lot of the ones that are out there, I have to take a look at the person. Sometimes the keto diet isn't good for people, particularly people who may have heart conditions, who are predisposed to atherosclerosis or heart attacks, and who also don't really eat the way that they should. I think people take a look at the keto diet and they overdose on the fat part of the diet.
Yeah.
Keto diet is actually, you're supposed to have a lot of veggies in there. Yeah, you can't have fruits because you're trying to eliminate the sugars. But what I recommend is if someone wants to do the keto diet, I would say that you need to have your plate balanced where there's more greens and veggies than there is meats and fats.
Okay.
Because you really need to load up on the greens, like the green sandwich where you eat the greens and then you eat the fats and the protein and then you eat the greens again, because the greens are those scrubbers. They're the ones that are going to help you digest all that fat. And I only recommend the keto diet intermittently. So I don't recommend it as a whole lifestyle, but if you're going to do it for 3 months and then take a break and then slowly start integrating all that other stuff back in.
3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
3 months is a long time, but some people do it every day for their life. And I know you're like, how can that be healthy? Because you're literally, if you're taking fruits out, there's so many antioxidants, right? In the fruits and vitamins and minerals. And I wouldn't think that would be long term.
Yeah. But for my personal body type, I am better on a paleo diet than I am on any other diet. But that's just because that works better for my body, from my genetics being half Middle Eastern. And then also because of my autoimmune, because if I load up on so many fats on the keto diet, my body will go crazy because my liver is so important to me with an autoimmune condition. And so, I would take a look at, what do you have? Do you have any ailments, or do Do you have food allergies? Do you have food sensitivities? And then I would take more of a veggie style approach. I like meats and veggies. That's why paleo is like so great for me. Maybe eliminate the grains. But yeah. Keto it depends on the person. I don't recommend it for everybody.
Hey, Saarah, do you avoid certain kind of meats? I'm vegan, but do you avoid certain kind of meats typically?
Non-organic, probably, right?
Outside of grass-fed or...
Well, yeah. So I'll do grass-fed. Grass-fed's really important to me. So I'll make sure that it's grass-fed or pasture-raised for the chickens and stuff. Lamb is one of the best sources of amino acids of all the meats, believe it or not. And so if I have a choice to eat a meat, I'll eat lamb. Lamb has one of the most complete amino acid profiles ever, and it's amazing. I just don't eat pork. I do that for my own reasons. There's a lot of stuff in pork meats that I probably don't want to go into that can really...
I just posted a video of a hot dog, and I got so many responses like, what? A hot dog under a microscope? Oh my God, it was so disgusting.
Yeah.
Plastic and all kinds of weird things in it. And obviously, But I think what you said is that we all are different. We all have different, even our blood type, right? There's the whole eat right for your blood type concept.
Yeah.
We're all very different, and we all have to figure out what works for us. It's taken me, we've been vegan 5 years now. I was vegetarian. I was really pescatarian before that. And that was my journey. That's how long it took me to be vegan. I couldn't have been vegan earlier because I really didn't know how to eat perfectly as a vegan, meaning I was doing too many carbs and I was really fatigued and tired.
I got you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, right? And with anything, like even if you want to go more paleo, like for me, when I go paleo, I still eat the rice pastas sometimes. I still indulge and I make my own French fries, right?
Yeah.
I still do that. However, it was a slow integration. And with any lifestyle change, it's got to be a slow integration.
Yes.
It's really difficult to just go boom, cold turkey, because then it feels like you're depriving yourself,
you
right?
And this is where we want to
add.
Yeah. Even if you fast for a day, you're hungry, even though you wouldn't normally be hungry in like an hour after you eat.
Totally.
You start obsessing over it.
Let's go from meat to wheat. So what do you feel about if someone went gluten-free, would they be healthier?
So again, I think that depends on the body type. So I'm gluten-free for obvious reasons, but going gluten-free doesn't necessarily mean healthier. I found that when I first had to go gluten-free, I was trying to find all the alternatives, right? And then when I started reading the labels of the gluten-free cookies and the gluten-free cereals and breads to make
I'm doing so well.
I'm like, doing great. But then it's like you really read into the ingredients, you're like, oh.
Yeah, what else are they putting in there in place of the gluten, right?
Yeah. But I find that, for instance, people with thyroid conditions absolutely go gluten-free. The gliadin protein that you find in gluten is very bioidentical to the thyroid.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, very identical. So it confuses the thyroid. Yeah.
If you have a client who has thyroid issue, do you do that right away? Say, hey, cut out
right away.
Okay.
Right away. Like I do that right away because
can they get off their medication? I know you're not giving medical advice, but typically, is that a way to get off that medication?
In my opinion, if you can catch it early enough, I think you can get off the medicine. But for me, I think it was too little too late. So what I'm doing is I just do stuff for thyroid support with the copper and the glutathione and all that other fun thyroid support.
Okay.
Choline is a really big thing for me. Choline. So you find it in the yolk of an egg, in asparagus, really big, high in choline.
Okay.
Brussels sprouts, like any stinky veggies.
I guess really I'm getting all that.
Yeah, right. Choline's so good for women, by the way. Just FYI, women need choline for all the women's stuff. But for gluten-free, I would have to say that you think about grains, it's a grain. And I think that too much gluten is not good for people. I think that within reason, people can still have a little bit here and there. Gluten takes 2 months to get out of the body when you have to get rid of it and purge it. So it takes a couple months to get it out of your system. That shows you how sticky it is in your system. Yeah. But I would limit it.
Yeah. I gave up gluten too, really. I mean, I didn't have an allergy, not celiac or anything, but I just noticed I really felt bad after I ate it, right? Your body, like we were talking about, the bloating, constant bloating, and just that kind of really full, heavy feeling. So listening to your body and kind of tuning into those little clues it gives you is really the moral of today's show. So Saarah, this has been so great. Now, stress plays a huge part in our ability to heal and eat healthy. And what would you say are some great techniques that you recommend and do to reduce stress, which everybody needs right now?
So stress is a really big deal. So stress can affect your adrenals, and your adrenals affect your hormones, and your hormones affect the way you metabolize food. And when you affect the way you metabolize food, you're not getting the nutrients that you need. Wow, that was really long-winded, but it literally all goes into, right? Stress is a really big deal. And then stress also affects the way that your body and organs detoxify, process foods, everything from even your mood, right? We all know that when we're stressed, our mood's kind of like,
That was a good sound effect.
Yeah. but really de-stressing, I think, again, it depends on the person. So for me, de-stressing is like going on a walk, exercising. My stress relief is through motion. Mm-hmm. I have to move to get rid of the stress.
Yeah.
Other people may find sitting and meditating and yoga-ing, if that's the word.
I love it. Yoga-ing.
Maybe that works better for them. Sometimes de-stressing is like going out with your girlfriends. I definitely don't recommend you getting yourself an excessive libation and stuff like that when you're trying to de-stress, because I think you're just masking what the issue is, right? But really doing things that get you in touch with yourself, creating that space that you need to release it. And then there's also adaptogenic herbs that I take for stress. So some of those herbs are ashwagandha, which I know you know about, holy basil, all the
What is it? Holy basil? Did you say holy?
Yeah, holy basil.
Is that different than regular basil?
A little bit different. It's a little bit different. I know, right? Is it holy?
Is it blessed?
I bless you, holy basil. I bless you.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's actually a good one. And there's the Rishi Mushrooms and the whole mushroom family with adaptogenic herbs. And what adaptogens do is they help you have this gut adrenal connection. And what it does is it helps your body adapt to stress. So when you're stressed out, your body releases cortisol, and a little bit of cortisol is good. We need cortisol. Cortisol is actually what gets your body to go chill out.
Okay.
But then when your body is constantly like running and running, what happens is your adrenals, they shoot up to the brain. They go, yo, we're stressed. Release cortisol. So release cortisol. Then the adrenals go again. We're stressed again. Release cortisol. But if this connection is not happening, then the adrenals are like, release cortisol, release cortisol, release cortisol. And the brain is like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
What?
What are you saying?
I kind of hear you.
I kind of hear you. So what the adaptogens do, they become this super big foghorn, and they're like, release the cortisol. And then you kind of like chill out, right?
We're all going to have that visual now.
Way.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
The mushrooms are like an amplifier in your body. That's really cool. No, that's true, because there's so much adrenal burnout nowadays. We live in a fight or flight society, and it's rewarded, right? It's encouraged. It's encouraged in the workplace.
It is, right? Yeah.
Oh, you didn't get sleep? Go ahead, high five. You're working.
You worked hard.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so we get rewarded for that, and we push ourselves and push ourselves and push ourselves until, if you've ever had adrenal burnout, anyone listening, me. Yeah, women, right? It's someone puts the brakes on really fast, and you can't tap into those reserves anymore because you've abused them. It's a journey to get those back. So get that body balanced again. Well, you guys, this was so amazing. I hope you learned as much as I did. Thank you so much, Saarah.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, gosh. This was really important, especially in today's day and age. This was great and such an important topic. I hope you guys learned a ton and take away some tips to start improving and building your immune system and gut health today. Be sure to subscribe to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast if you aren't already. And to find all the show notes and all the links that we discussed today, go to ronandlisa.com/podcast.
Plus, all of Saarah's recipes are allergy friendly, quick to prepare, and incorporate a superfood to add an extra boost of wellness. You can learn more about Saarah at beautymommy.com, and that's beauty mommy with an E at the end. Let me spell it for you. BeautyMomme.com. Of course, you can also find her on Instagram at Beauty Mommy. So we'll see you at the next episode. Thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Saarah.
Saarah, great job.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
So good. Great to see you. Really, it was really wonderful. Great job.
Yeah, so good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.